Hey there, Brandon here, and welcome to another episode of Stack and Scale. And today we're going to build a signal-based workflow that takes web intent, scores those accounts, finds our buyers, creates personalized outreach using the AI, and then, well, reaches out to those buyers, all using Clay. We're going back to Clay. And it's another solo episode because I've been getting a lot of great feedback on these solo episodes, but I really do want to hear from you. So in the next few days and the next week or so, I'm going to send out a survey, and I just want to know, was this helpful? Was it not helpful? What do you want to see more of? What do you want to see less of? Both in these videos, but more broadly in just the newsletter itself. So please keep your eye out for that in the next few days, or again, maybe the next week or so. Okay, so today, again, we're going back to signal-based selling, and signal-based selling is just probably one of the hottest topics we've heard in the last year or so, and rightfully so. It's a data-driven, sales strategy that uses buyer signals to identify and prioritize prospects who are potentially actively looking to buy, or they have a higher propensity to end up buying from you. And the signal that we'll be using today in the demo is web intent. And we're going to take website visitors and then hopefully turn them into pipeline. So with all of that said, let's actually just jump right in. All right, so the first thing that we're going to have to do is set up web intent. So I have this set up already for this table over here that I'm going to show you, but just for the sake of the demo, let me actually show you how to set this up. So it is pretty easy, pretty straightforward. So we just name it here and then copy this code and put it onto your website. Obviously work with your web dev team if you need, if you don't have access to the site or don't know how to do it yourself. Pretty straightforward, pretty easy, or you can also add it just to your tag manager. And then here you either have a few options of, you have two options. You can either build the custom de-anonymization, and you can, pick your different vendors. You can move them around a little bit, and kind of really depends on your industry, your buyers, that sort of thing, or just go with what's already built right out of the box. I'm going to go with what's built right out of the box. And then we can sort of say, all right, now look at only people on our pricing page, and obviously get the right slug for your pricing page, or you can use like the wildcard, so blog, and then anything that follows that. So this would get anyone who lands on the blog, et cetera, et cetera. And then you can put together some more advanced filters as well. So you can say they have to be on your site for at least a minimum of this amount of time. You can exclude IP addresses, that sort of thing. And then you can also put credit limits. So you can have a cap. Don't spend more than this amount of credits. And of course, if you've been playing around with Clay, you know that credits is a very tricky thing. So just another way for Clay to help you manage your credit usage. And then of course, you can see all of the credit usage all across all of your workbooks and all of your Clay tables here. So feel free to click into that and go play around with that and figure that out. So anyway, you can do that and then write all of that to a new table. So I'm not going to click this button here because, again, I already did it. So let me show you how I set this up. So the first thing, again, the web intent event that we already set up here. And we'll just click into this real quick. And then we can, so currently I have, has at least one visit in the last one day. And you can obviously put more parameters around this, 5 in the last week, or et cetera, et cetera. But for the sake of this demo, I'm doing 1 in the last one day. And then, so actually one other thing I would say, if you do want to edit the signal, edit, what you have on this, what you had set up here, you can obviously just go do that right here. This is going to take you back to that page here. And you know what, maybe one thing that I forgot to mention, how do you get to this page in the first place? You just go to your settings, and then you go to your web intent here, and then you go, again, add new signal there. Okay, cool. Now that we have that, so these are the fields that you can pull in. You can pull in when they were last seen, when they were first seen. You can actually pull in the sessions, IP. This one was actually me. testing this out. And you can pull all of that data into your table. But for the sake of this demo, I'm just pulling in the pages and the total session count. And then from here, we're doing some company enrichment. And the things that I'm pulling in are going to be employee count, where they're located, annual revenue, and industry. And then again, if you're familiar with Clay, you know that you can add any of these other fields in there as well. But these are the ones that I'm going with for right now. And then the next thing that I'm doing is I set up an account score. And here you can see I just use AI, and this is the model that I used. So pretty standard, pretty straightforward. And there's a lot of other things that you could add to this as well. But if you wanted to just copy and paste this and put that right into Clay's AI and say, build this score for me, great. The other things that you could do too is you could pull in like, tech stack, and then use their waterfall tech stack, and you can configure this, you can move these around, you can add, or just again, go with their out of the box setup. And you could also add things like, about funding is another good one, if I can spell it right. Funding, and then you can pull in funding, or if there are other custom things that you look for, you can use their AI tool called Claygent, their AI agent, to go find anything else out there that might be a good signal for you. Then put it into the same type of rubric here, and then put that into your score, and then it'll give you your account score. Okay, so now that you have the people that visited, the accounts that visited your site, then you've scored them. Now we need to go find the actual people that we care about at these accounts. Now, I don't want to find the exact, I don't necessarily want to find the exact people, right? Because that might be a little weird saying, hey, I know that you've been on these pages on the website. It feels a little bit, stocky, if you will. And it might not even be the right person. So what we really want to do is find our buyers at those accounts. And a lot of times companies aren't just going to give you the person that's on your website, right? That would be a little too easy. Why would companies like, Demandbase or any of those other web intent visitor vendors do that? That'd make it too easy. Anyway, so what we got to do next is find people at these accounts. So here you will see that I want to find executives in sales with these titles and make sure they're not like an EA or an advisor or anything like that. And for the sake of this demo, I'm only saying give me one per company. Might make sense for you to have more than one. There might be 5 directors of sales or 100 CSMs or whatever you're going after. Obviously, feel free to put in whatever makes the most sense for you there. But once we pull that, and again, we're pulling it from that table that we just created, and then we are now writing it to the person table here. And then it's going to give us the standard data. And again, if we want to pull in other information about that person, we can obviously do that to pull that into the table here. But this is what I ended up pulling in from that table for the sake of this demo. And then the next thing that I want to do is that account score that we had on the company table, I want to actually pull that into this table here. So I'm using this function that's lookup single row in another table. Lookup single row in other table. I'm saying that previous table that we were on. And then I want to pull in the account score. The other thing that I'm doing here too, now I'm realizing now that I shouldn't have necessarily done it at this step. I probably should have done it at the next step, but it's all still the same. I'll show you what I did. So I'm basically saying only run this and pull it in if the industry is equal to software development and they visited the page /see it in action, which is our demo page, and if it's more than 100 people. So only run that if those 3 criteria are met, and then it gives me, again, the account score that we saw on the previous table, because I only want to reach out to those companies that meet that criteria, that have that high intent, and that, again, have that high propensity to buy from us. So if they get pulled in, then I want to go find their work email. And then if from there, I want to start to generate those personalized email outreach using AI. And again, here, I'm using the Octave integration, and I'll show you what that is real quick. So I did a more detailed breakdown of this in one of my previous episodes of Stack and Scale. So if you want a more detailed breakdown, feel free to go watch that one. I'll link it up. But again, we're real high level. This is a 2-step sequence. It's short. It's a cold outbound, and we're giving it a bunch of context and what examples of what good looks like, and then using some of our key differentiators and customer outcomes. And then it's using all of that data, and then it's going to write, in this case, a subject line, a body, a second subject line, a second body. And then now I have some awesome outreach, some one-to-one personal messaging using AI at scale based off of all the context and information that I gave it, so that we can now send those emails. So I'm using Clay's native sequencer again here, and I am just going to pop in over here. So it writes it to a new campaign over here. And this is what that looks like. So as you'll see here, subject 1, I pull in from the table here, and I can just do backslash and pull in just the subject that it wrote. Then the body. And then here I have 3 days later, send the follow-up one, which is subject line 2 and body 2. And then again, just for the sake of here, showing that I can actually create the email here and create the different elements using AI. So here I'm using an AI snippet, and I'm saying, understand what the pressures of the title. In this case, again, it could be a CRO, could be head of sales, could be VP of sales at the company is, and then here's some other system prompts for that, and then it's going to create that sentence there. I'm also doing the same thing for a value prop, and I'm giving it some more context on value props here, and then I'm also giving it a call to action, and then again I have a few lines here within the system prompt, so that again it creates the best, most personalized, relevant snippet there. And then I have these AI snippets that make up my email here, and then I can see the preview over here. So that's how we actually turn that into an outreach sequence. And again, we don't want to say, hey, I noticed that you were on our website visiting these pages, because that seems a little creepy, a little stocky, a little weird. So that's why we come up with an email that is more speaking to the pains and the benefits of someone on one of those pages. And actually, it's worth noting here too that in the lead score that we built over here, we can also say, if they're on, sites or certain pages, like our pricing page, give them a higher score. That's another thing that we could do here in our lead scoring that will help us give a little bit more signal. And yeah, again, there's a lot more things you can do with scoring, but for the sake of the example, we're just going to leave it at that. And then another thing too that I might do is actually push this into maybe a Slack channel. So I can hit Slack and send a message to Slack. And then I could, the Slack, just select the Slack channel. So maybe set up a Slack channel for your team that says web intent. In the message, you could say, company was on, one of these pages, or it could be they were first seen or last seen, or number of sessions in the last how many ever days, that sort of thing. So it's pretty granular what you can do with that as well. So anyway, hope that was helpful. And again, this just serves as an idea of what you can do and a base of what you can do. So if you want to push this instead of sending emails with Clay's native sequencer, you can send it over to your outreach tool, whether you're using Outreach, SalesLoft, Smart Lead, etc., or even something like a HeyReach, and you want to do this all on LinkedIn, or use a custom webhook and send it to another tool or another integration, that sort of thing. Anyway, hope this was helpful. Again, would love to hear a little bit of feedback from you, what you in general like to see more of, like to see less of, what's helpful, what's not helpful in these videos, and the overall Stack and Scale newsletter that I send out every week. If you end up using this and end up building something cool on top of this, let me know. Would love to hear from you. All right, that's it for me this week. I hope you have a great Thanksgiving if you're celebrating, if you're in America. If not, have a great week, and I will talk to you all next time. Cheers.